Guys, this is the most important tie break of all the tie breaks this season. This isn't just for wildcard seeding. This is wildcard seeding / playoffs. If you win here in this best of 1, you don't have to do an entire best of 5 series just to get into the NASL Season 4 Grand Finals. That is gigantic.
It's huge. It's huge, Andre.
It's gymongous.
It's enormous.
This is paramount.
This is monumental. Andre, do you have a prediction of this match? Because you're talking about the gravity of this matchup. But at the same time, do you have any person that you prefer to win here?
Well, I was just at the movies, and Oz was great and powerful there. There was a trailer that came out. It was pretty cool. I'm going for Oz. Solely on that preview.
I'm going with Arthur, just because I think Arthur has a lot to prove. He's got a lot to show, and I like NASL's platform to showcase the underdog. Ever since Season 1, that's how Puma became basically the international superstar. That's how EG got to sign him, and that's why Puma is that household name he is. And I would love for another person to come out from nowhere, from the grassroots, who's still teamless. And then it's going to be like, oh yeah, we've been talking with Arthur for months now to sign him. No, you weren't. It's because NASL showcased him. And that's why Arthur's been successful. I want him to do well.
Absolutely. Don't get me wrong. I want Arthur to do so well over here. But, you know, there's something about Oz that I just really, really like. I agree with him. PvP is an art. It really is so very skill-based. And I've just been playing so much PvP recently that I actually think it's one of my favorite matchups. I feel like it is a matchup where you have there's a lot of volatility, but you have a lot of room to actually showcase your skill once you get into that mid-game phase. Getting these little advantages or even taking huge wins is all very, very common. Now look at this probe. Entomb Valley features some very interesting terrain, some of which you can hide behind trees and plant probes.
Plant themselves? Or
Really?
plant pylons?
Plant pylons,
Yeah.
you're right.
I know exactly what you meant, Andre. But it is very misleading because it restricts so much vision. If you hop onto Arthur's vision, he doesn't see anything other than this little sliver of a light shadow. There's also really interesting, unique features, like you can put a pylon on the edge of the third base and warp into the main if you get enough vision. That's why we see some people 3-gate, or maybe just go for a very raw cut 4-gate. Now, Oz scouts a second gas, but is not being mined out at all. That should make Oz very suspicious. He says, well, he has a second gas. Why isn't he using it? In fact, he's got a lot of Chrono Boost saved up, too. There's a lot of minerals being packed up. Maybe Arthur's just going to go for a huge gateway aggression.
Oh, most certainly. He's planning on this. I mean, when you have that probe in that bottom right-hand position, as it is, that is just invaluable position. It's so hard to defend if you are going for anything tech-related. Now, thankfully for Oz, he is going 3 gates, so that might be able to actually stop this, but it's still very difficult. I mean, the theory about having these 2 stalkers on the map is to really stop those probes from being able to plant those pylons, but of course the pylon's going to go up in the perfect position. And this is going to spell a disaster, absolute disaster.
Oh, wow. This pylon's going straight in the corner.
The pylon's even hiding behind the trees, man.
This is absolutely insane. I can't believe how much vision has been restricted because of it. It's actually funny because the pylon, I don't think, can even warp in unless the probes really they're getting vision for because of how much shadows casted onto it. Oz sees the 2 stalkers and 1's out. That shows high aggression. The stalkers are warping in also from behind. Oz is moving down his ramp.
He's not going to reveal this. He's going to wait until he has all of his units warped in fully. And here it goes. He can actually like warp in sentries and probably stop all of this from happening. But no,
my goodness. What if he
did
that?
Back up. And it looks like Oz is going to try to put on a little pressure. This is actually really scary for him, obviously, because we know 4 stalkers are starting up on these gateways. Now he's going to warp in Zealots and stalkers in the back. This is really, really bad for Oz.
Arthur's targeting down the gateways. I figured he'd target down pylons at least to gain some kind of critical damage of supply blocking his opponent, but now he's also working on the mineral line. The stalkers are hugging the pylon and the gateway in the back. Nice positioning, but there's still lots of pressure imminent. Arthur's walking up with more stalkers, and Oz is going to go for a base trade.
Yeah, I agree with this position. Oz is actually going for that base trade, as you said. He just needs to congregate all of his units together, but that's going to be something so hard to do. Look at this, actually trapping all the Stalkers in the back corner over here with Zealots and his Stalkers. He's not going to let that happen, and Oz, therefore, is going to be only having 4 Stalkers and 2 Sentries to his name.
Yeah, now Oz is going to try to work onto the pylons and just basically restrict Arthur from being able to do anything, but Arthur can still warp in. Now Oz does warp in a couple sentries. He's gonna, well, he can't really make anything with this probe, so this pylon is all he's got. Oh, he used the sentry to also lock down the probes, making sure they can't escape. And Arthur, he's got 4 probes. He's got 1 probe left, but actually he has enough to make a Nexus too. I think this position from Arthur is really, really, really solid.
I do, but potentially what we could have is just a straight up tie. Like, neither of these players. Oh, never mind.
Can he just expand? And
yeah, he can. He has 450.
Yeah. He's got enough to make a Nexus, and Oz, well, he realizes he can't really make anything. He's got to save something, and that's gonna cue up Arthur to just expand back into his opponent's main. Your base is now mine.
Oh, your base belongs to me.
That's right.
And it's going to be very difficult to actually engage against this. 4 Stalkers and 3 Sentries, excuse me. He should have 4 Sentries, but it's trying to eliminate his base. That's going to be the slowest elimination ever.
How are you going to do this? He's got 9 Stalkers.
Yeah.
He over doubled the amount that his opponent has.
It's impossible from here.
It's really tough. I don't think Oz
can't
can
even get
do
vision
this.
up here.
No,
Once he gets vision, he loses a unit immediately.
Guardian Shield? Maybe magical force fields? No, I can't really do anything in this scenario,
They're not
man.
that good.
No, force fields are pretty good. But even Morrow can't really quite a post about this one. GG is called, and Arthur takes the tiebreaker on Entomb Valley.
Straight up 4-gate. I mean, that probe being in the top right-hand corner of the base really did it. I mean, I hate to say it's just that, but really it was. Once you get that pylon in there and your opponent isn't going like a defensive 4-gate, pretty much dead.
Yep.
You can't come back from that.
Well, that advances Arthur onto the playoffs.
Yes.
So we get number 8 seed. Oz will move in as the number 1 wildcard seeds, which what does that mean? That he'll play Naniwa?
He faces off against Naniwa, and then the winner of that will actually face off again against Arthur. So it could be revenge time for Oz. He could actually match up against him again.
Game number 1 and the only game was brought to you by Audible. Download a bestseller, go to nasl.tv/p/audible for a limited time special offer. When we come back, our last tiebreaker, Ryung versus Puma, Terran versus Terran. If you say there's not enough Terrans in tournaments, well, now you get 2. We'll be back right after this. Don't go anywhere.